Hey guys, it's Dad from Working Dead Notebook, and I'm going to talk very quickly on discipline for your child. It's a hard topic, and I'm going to try to do it in under a minute, and I've got 50 seconds. So, no one gives you a manual. I wish they did. They don't. It sucks. You leave the hospital, you have a human baby, and they're just like, oh, this is your problem now. And you're like, oh my God, I am not even an adult. And then you realize, oh God, I'm kind of an adult. Anyway, here's what works: consistency, honesty, integrity. If you are consistent with your child, if you have integrity with your child, and you have honesty with your spouse, you'll be successful. What you need to do above anything else, as far as technique, tactic, procedure, doesn't matter. Be consistent, be honest, have integrity, and your child will respond, and you will have a smiling, happy baby just like I do. Best of luck. Now, for the long form video, because that was the cut for the freaking shorts or whatever, because, hey, I'm paying for my kids $5.29. Honest and lending, I am. All of this goes directly into my kid's $5.29, and I want the best for him. What I will say about disciplining your child when they're young, I have a very young son. He's only 14, about to be 14 months. 14 months. Sorry. What you find is that there is a disconnect between what you wish the behavior they exhibit is and the behaviors that they're naturally going to exhibit. As an example, we were sitting here today and Harlan was playing absolutely phenomenally with his grandmother, his grandfather, our dog, Remy, which, Remy's my best friend, Remy, and my in-laws' dog, Scouty. And he was gentle, he was great, no problem. Well, the problem started to come up with Harlan taking this toy or a piece of a toy, which is like a handle to a shovel, and he was just throwing it. Well, I don't want him to continue to think he can just throw whatever he wants, right? Because some things are breakable, some things are dangerous. He can't just throw everything, and he kind of kept doing it. So what I had to do with him is I had to tell him no. Well, that's important, because what I'm doing is I'm establishing a groundwork and saying, hey, you can do what you're doing up till this level. And then Harlan would continue to throw his toy and, do what he was doing. I would say no. And then I would say no more forcefully. And then he continued to do it. So then I removed him from the situation by physically picking him up and removing him from the thing he was throwing and saying, go do this. Well, he walked back and he grabbed the thing and he threw it again. Well, at this point, we have now gone beyond doing the thing, and we've entered into the realm of defiance. Now, at 14 months old, he doesn't know what he's doing. I can't physically punish him because he doesn't get it. He's too young, right? But I have to have consistency. So I have to say, okay, between me, mom, all the grandparents, when he does X, we respond with Y. And respond with Y right now is physically removing him from the situation. When he is a little bit older, it will possibly escalate beyond that to corporal punishment. But we're not there yet. It's just not there. He cannot physically or mentally understand what we're saying. So what we do is we say, okay, how do we establish a set of rules that are replicable and universally applicable? So we say, okay, we're gonna establish a timeout. For us, timeout is the first step of the stairs. We put him on it and we say, you're not gonna move. And you would be absolutely surprised what 14-year-olds understand, because somehow he knows not to move because he hasn't moved from it. And he cries and he throws an absolute fit. You let it run. And you tell him, you're going to stay here for 2 minutes. And then he stays there for 2 minutes. And it's the end of the world. And it pulls on all your heartstrings. And it makes you the most gullible and, vulnerable person in the world. But you make him do it. And the end of it, he goes and plays like nothing ever happened. He smiles and he laughs, and you realize it doesn't matter. But you make him do it. Why? Because you said you were going to have him do it. Then, as it kind of escalates, you go from there. Now, that is a problem that we're talking about that is not something that could injure him or cause problems. Now, for those, you have a different approach. There was a time before we bought this house where we had outlets that were not protected, and these special outlets that have these little plastic covers that prevent babies from doing things. And it's great. I'm glad we bought a house that does that. We paid a lot of money, but we made it work. Well, if you're not in a situation where you have those things readily available to you, you might have to address the problem of your son trying to stick a fork in a freaking GFID. Anyway, you might have a problem where they're trying to stick something into an electrical outlet because, I don't know, they're exploring the terrain around them. Well, you have to address that, and you have to address it immediately. And you have to address that in a way that is not just, hey, don't do that or you're going to go to timeout. No, you might have to, reinforce that behavior. Going back to operant conditioning and all of that. Well, what I have found has worked for us, and may not work for you, but has worked for us, is I pop them on the hand. I do. Full context. I give corporal punishment, even at 14 months of age, because there are some things that me popping him on the hand, he's not going to remember. But if I don't do that, he's not going to have the ability to remember, because he's going to be dead. I have to watch my language. This is a family channel. And you have to be very careful about that. So for you fathers out there especially, but for you mothers as well, you need to be careful about the time and place and disposition of what you're talking about. So if he's trying to shove, or she, doesn't matter, is trying to shove something into an electrical outlet, you got to address that immediately. And it's not just a raise your voice and have the dad voice. There's a time and place for that. It doesn't always work, especially when they're young. But you have to start pairing that with possibly corporal punishment. And it's the hardest thing to do as a parent. I mean, it is seriously the hardest thing to do as a parent, because you don't, my God, when he cries, I cry internally. I mean, I'm a man, right? No, but it kills me. But you gotta do it. If he's gonna touch we have a gas oven now. If he's gonna put his finger in that flame, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna let him do it, but he has to know he can't do it. And it is a combination of both, it's not really even a combination. He's not mature enough yet mentally or physically to understand that, hey, that's going to hurt me. So I have to show him it's going to hurt him. Now, I'm not going to let him burn his fingers off. I might have to pop his hand, and that's kind of what we do right now. And he doesn't like it, full context. I don't like it, full context, truth and lending. I hate having to hit my son. I hate it with a passion. I mean, I never realized my parents went through this whenever I was being raised, but I hate it. But you have to do it, because at the end of the day, would you rather pop your child on the hand and tell them no, or watch them get third-degree burns because they stick their hand in a Bunsen burner, essentially. It's an easy answer. I mean, it really is. So what you do at that point is you have consistency. If mom tells him no, dad tells him no. And if dad tells him no, mom tells him no. And it establishes that there's a line and you don't cross that line. Now, as I'm speaking to the men here more directly. As the man of the household, whether you like it or not, discipline is going to kind of fall on you. So what you have to do is you have to be consistent and you have to be empathetic, but consistent. And if that means you got to pop the little 14-year-old month-old on the hand and tell him no, you pop him on the hand and you tell him no. Because at the end of the day, I have spanked my son. I don't like it. I hated every second of it, but I've spanked my son. And you know what he did immediately after I spanked him? He wanted me to pick him up and give him a kiss because, he loves dad and I love him. And he knows that I love him. And he knows that I have his best interest in mind, even if he doesn't understand what that is yet. So you as parents, what you have to understand is sometimes the job sucks. It does. And I'm rambling. Oh my gosh, I'm at 11 and a half minutes. If you are still watching, sometimes being a parent sucks. And you gotta do what you gotta do. But what you have to do is keep the best interest of your child in mind. And if you do that, no matter if you do timeout, if you do corporal punishment, whatever it may be, whatever works for your child, keep their best interest in mind and be open, honest, professional about it. You'll never have an issue. And I'm going to stop rambling because I'm past 12 minutes and oh my gosh, this is supposed to be a 30-second video. I love you guys. Please reach out if you need help. I'm always here to support. Life Lessons with Dad from Working Dad Notebook. Bye-bye.